Hello and welcome back to my garden. Today is going to be the first day of what I'm calling Fall Blitz because I'm going to do something I've never done before in my YouTube career here. I'm going to produce a video every single day for the next 30 days, or at least attempt to. Who knows if I'll be successful, who knows if life will get in the way, who knows what'll happen. But today's day one of the Fall Blitz. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is not just for the YouTube clicks and whatnot, but I have a lot of little projects to do around the garden. I mean, a lot. Let's just give you an example here. Of course, there's fall bulb planting, there's tidying up the orchard, there's moving shrubs around, there's digging up and moving peonies, there's how to make a cement mold, digging up cannas and gladiolas and dividing up agapanthus, weeding, of course, trimming up the crepe myrtles, digging up and storing dahlias, cleaning the greenhouse, which is an utter disaster, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So I thought, why not try to kill two birds with one stone and make a YouTube video every single day showing me doing at least one project every single day. A lot of these videos may be very short because some of these projects aren't very extensive, and I'm not going to show you me cutting every single thing or me digging up every single peony, but I will probably show you where I plant all those peonies. So that maybe only be a 10-minute video. Some videos may only be 20 minutes. Some videos may only be 3 minutes. Who knows? Again, never done this before. I'm gonna try to keep things moving along. So speaking of moving along, yesterday, which would be Saturday for me, you guys are probably watching this on Monday, hopefully, I went to a local plant show. It was actually wonderful. They had a ton of plants, and I wish I could have bought a whole lot more, but for various reasons, I did not. What I did get, though, were 3 plants I've never grown before, and I'm pretty excited to be planting them out today. I had very little knowledge of 2 of these plants, but I wanted getting them anyways, and I think many of us probably often do. Many of us gardeners, when you go out someplace, you buy. Let me know in the comments below. Do you often go and buy something that you've never seen before, have never grown before, even if with all your years of experience, and then later on come to find it needs certain conditions or that kind of thing? Either way, I'm gonna stop prattling and tell you what I got. First up, this is a Mexican cigar plant. It doesn't look like much, but it's supposed to have these lovely flowers which the hummingbirds love. Unfortunately, it's a tropical plant. I didn't know this, and it won't survive here in my climate. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this and how I'm going to treat this for the upcoming year. Next up, not too dramatic from what I already grow, but it is pineapple sage. Has these lovely red flowers on it, and I think this plant is large enough that I can take at least a couple of cuttings. So that'll be one of the things I do today. I'll take a couple of cuttings, and then I'll plant this out somewhere in the garden. I'll show you where later. And then last but not least, I got this beautiful elephant ear. It is called a Royal Hawaiian Blue Hawaii. It has these lovely flowers, these leaves here, and you can see the dark veining in them, and then the dark stems here. I have a plan for this one, and I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. And there'll be one more surprise, which you'll have to wait until the end of the video to watch. So let's get to planting, and first up, the Mexican cigar plant. First up is the Mexican cigar plant. Now, according to the tag here, it says it grows in 7B to 10. But I did a little homework last night, and it turns out to be a bit more tropical than that. I think it's supposed to be like 8 to 10 or something. If I'm wrong about any of this, I'll post it on the screen. You can also treat this plant, I guess, as an annual in more northern climates. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up in this pot, and then I'm going to put it on the back deck. And then what I can do is when we start getting those freezes, because again, we do get frosts and freezes, and it'll probably happen sometime in the next month or so. I can bring this pot with the plant, even if it dies back, I can bring it into the greenhouse, and then it'll be warm enough in the greenhouse that this pot should be fine, and then take it out next year, continue to keep it in a pot, and put it out on the back deck again. So if you guys grow any tropicals, let me know below in the comments. This is not really pot bound, which is nice. I'm gonna squish that in there. I'm using a high quality potting soil, Daddy Pete's CN Farm. I'm just going to tuck that in there really good. There we go. And of course, as always, don't forget the tag. And now we're going to put this up on the deck. Well, I'm going to put it right here, but there's this plant here. And if you want to know what this plant is, you got to watch to the end of the video. So there we go. The Mexican cigar plant. Never grown this before. I do like the red stem and the leaves, and apparently the hummingbirds love the flowers. I think this time of year, a lot of the hummingbirds are heading further south right now, but we'll see what happens. And my main goal right now is just to keep this alive till next year. And this plant needs a home. But before I give it a home, there's two other plants I want to take care of first. The next plant we're going to plant out is the pineapple sage. Now this is going to go out into the flower garden. But before we do that, I want to take a couple of cuttings, and this way, in case for whatever reason the mother plant doesn't survive, I can't remember the growing zone, but it's supposed to be tolerable to this area. So in case it doesn't survive, I would at least have a couple of cuttings which hopefully they survive. I already made a couple of labels. So we're going to grab this cutting right here. So you guys have probably all taken cuttings a billion times before. Cutting right below a leaf node, stripping off bottom leaves. I'm going to take off a couple of these bigger leaves up top. And then I'm going to cut. This way there's not a lot of leaf growth, so there's theoretically not a lot of stress, and hopefully it puts out a lot of roots. That's the plan. If you think I'm taking cuttings wrong or have a different approach taking cuttings, please leave that information, but please leave your comments below. Got the first one potted up. I could put two in one pot, but I don't think so. I'm going to put one in each pot because I'm going to overwinter them in the greenhouse, so hopefully by the springtime they've started putting on quite a bit more growth and they get bigger, and I don't think they'll be this big by the springtime. They'll probably be much smaller, but if they're in each individual pot, they don't have to worry about competing for resources and nutrients, that kind of thing. This is my logic. If you think I'm wrong, please leave those comments below. Outside. Okay, so just put those two on the bench with all the other cuttings and stuff. And now let's go plant this guy out in the flower garden. The pineapple sage we're going to put right here. This is towards the street side of the flower garden. And right next to it here, I have crocosmia, and it has some lovely red flowers. This is the first year that I've had it in the garden, and it's done okay. It's survived. A lot of the bulbs survive. If you've grown crocosmia before and you have your opinions, please leave them below. In the meantime, I'm going to put this pineapple sage right over here, sort of behind them towards the back, because it can get up to 5 feet tall, and it too has lovely red flowers. The soil here is fairly free draining, which is good. We are going to add a little bit more compost. There we go. The roots aren't too bad. Get you there. Just going to compost around you. There we go. And then mulch back up around it. And of course, don't forget the tag. I'll put a prettier tag in there if it survives till next spring. That's the trick now, because I'm planting so late in the year. And for new viewers who aren't familiar with the channel or just stumbling across this, I'm in zone 8B. The ground here never freezes. So hopefully within the next month, before the first freezes or frosts arrive, this can root in. And yes, it may die back, but then hopefully next spring it'll pop back to life. If not, I have those two other cuttings, and if they survive, all is well. Let's go plant up the elephant ear. I have other elephant ears, and they're in the driveway bed, which gets a lot of shade throughout the day. And they seem to prefer it and actually enjoy it there. They grow very well. If you haven't seen them, you can go back and watch some of my other videos. They're very lovely. Either way, this elephant ear, the Royal Hawaiian Blue Hawaii here, this gets 4 to 5 feet tall, and apparently it can grow in full sun, allegedly. It also likes quite wet feet, which is one of the reasons I'm going to plant it in this bed, because this bed tends to get pretty sodden when we get heavy rains. It also enjoys rich, fertile soil, which this bed does, because I've been amending this bed for, a year or two now. So the soil here is pretty good, but I am going to plant it with some fresh compost as well. Now, one of the things I was wondering, oh yeah, a little pot bound here. I'm going to tease some of these roots out. There we go. Get rid of that. Let it grow on. It's quite small now. It seems dwarfed back here, but you have to remember it'll get 4 to 5 feet tall. So theoretically, next year, at the height of the summer, we'll be at least this tall, if not taller. I'm gonna pull the mulch back. And the other reason for planting it here in this spot is, you may notice I have this weird little dark gap between these holly bushes here. I kind of want to hide that, cover it up. I don't think the bushes are going to put a lot of bottom growth on, just because the way they've grown and the way they've been trained. I will be pruning these. It might be part of the 30-day blitz. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, this elephant ear is planted. But there's one more surprise. For my last plant to plant, and this one I already had. Now I grew this from seed, and as many of you already guessed, it's a lily. And that's guessed by the leaves. But what you didn't guess is it's a blackberry lily. Now this was sitting up on the deck all summer long so I could watch it and I could baby it. I've tried growing blackberry lily, say that 3 times fast, from seed before and had no luck. This year I got lucky and I got 2 viable plants. But now the Mexican cigar plant went where it was, and I think now is a good time to be planting this guy out. But first, I have to clean this spot up here. Now here I had several salvias growing, and now I have a lot of weeds, thorny, horrible, viney weeds. And the salvias, which here's one underneath all this, when we had one or more of the tropical storms, they just got over soaked and now they're dead. The root ball's all rotted out. And this was Rose Marvel Salvia, and I think I had 2 of them here. Now May Night, which I have down at the end here, that one survived. But unfortunately the other 2 salvias that were here did not make it. What did make it was a lot of this weed. This is horrible. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's one plant. Now right here in front of me, I have a red hot poker, and this guy I'm going to leave here till next year probably, and then maybe next year I'll dig him up. And right here in front I have, I believe it's Easter Candy Bearded Iris. I'm on the fence about if I should leave this guy here or if I should move him with the rest of the irises on the other side of the flower garden. But for now we're going to leave him. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I think there's a salvia alive here underneath a bunch of grass, or a bunch of grass grew in the salvia. There is a Rose Marvel Salvia here, but grass grew up through it. So what I'm going to do is get a shovel, because apparently I didn't bring a shovel with me. I'm going to dig this Rose Marvel Salvia up and see if I can get the grass out of it, and then maybe replant it someplace else. And then we're going to plant this blackberry lily right here in front of the border. So let me go get some tools, and just like that, see if we can dig this one up. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is all grass that grew in and amongst the salvia. It's going to be tricky to get it all out, and the roots. I think what I may do is take this back to the greenhouse, pick through it off camera, and then maybe repot it into a pot to plant somewhere else out in the garden come next spring. In the meantime, I'm going to push back some of this mulch, do a little more weeding. We're going to cut back the leaves now so it's a little easier to juggle. If you've ever grown blackberry lily and have any thoughts or opinions, please leave them below, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm sort of treating this like a regular lily. Since there's going to be some transplant shock and I want the roots to grow out, I'm cutting the leaves back. So let's see if we can get this out of the pot here and see what it looks like. Woo! Wow, pot bound. And get those out of there. Hopefully you can see that, all the roots. This guy is pretty pot bound, and these roots look good and healthy. And from my understanding, blackberry lily will grow and spread, which is kind of nice because I like plants that can kind of take care of themselves. It may become a thug and or a bully to other plants in the area, but I'll deal with that if it survives the winter. There are supposed to be 2 plants here. So I'm going to see if we can't maybe separate them. All right, 2 plants. These roots look incredibly healthy, very nice. Tuck you there, pull that back. All right. So theoretically, both these plants will hopefully spread along here. I'm sure they'll want to spread elsewhere, but we'll have to see how that goes, and hopefully they won't be too thuggish and or invasive. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. This way you can follow along with my 30-day fall blitz. Hopefully I make it through all 30 days. Hopefully I keep you guys entertained. If you haven't checked all the links below, please check out the links below. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.